everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of I Cast Fireball, an actual play 5e D&D adventure of the campaign Tyranny of Dragons. I'm Thomas, your DM for this adventure, and we have...
Malamara.
Lance Thalen.
And Fleeple.
Last we left our adventurers, there was some accusations in the main tent of the cultist camp. Mondath, needing counsel from her right-hand man, brought Langdarosa into the camp, which immediately exposed the adventurers. A massive battle ensued right in the middle of the tent. Moonbeam coming down from the sky, backstabbing from Lance, just hammering away from Mal to where the point she almost died, but then expertly and miraculously was able to cut the head off Langdarosa. After pursuing Mondath, getting saved by Leosin, the group just splitting apart to do their assigned tasks. Fleeple getting the rope, Lance getting the prisoners, and everybody else joining at the bottom of the cliff. Chaos erupting in the camp, fires being lit by the orcs, battles erupting in these small little pockets, distracting the cultists from this escape from the prisoners and these adventurers here. We come to our adventurers running with Leosin, running with the prisoners away from the camp. Leosin urging them all to rush into the forest away from the camp, and this is where we join our adventurers. So, we come to the group here, this ragtag group. Some of the older prisoners falling behind, but Mal assisting. Fleeple, in your lizard form, being able to maybe urge them onward, assist them, maybe even somebody sitting on your back or lying on your back, being able to help them run. Leosin, just brushing through the forest, going as fast as you, Lance, both of you able to make the way in the darkness, the moon being bright overhead, lighting your path, not making it too terribly difficult. All of you not knowing exactly where to go, but Leosin continually urging you, this way, please, follow me, quickly. He just rushes, and he just, hour after hour, you're exhausted. It's the middle of the night. Finally, Leosin says, all right, I believe we can wait here for a tiny bit to catch our breaths, but we really should not fully rest until we get to Greenest. I believe everybody here would agree in that, yes? And the prisoners, exhausted, but all shake their head, taking a little bit of a breather here. Essentially, we're taking a short rest at the time being, so if you need to roll any hit dice, do anything to assist in that. Fleeple, your wild shape drops at this point, because I believe it's only 2 hours at this point, maybe an hour, I believe.
Yeah, let me check that just to make sure.
I'm going to roll 2 hit dice.
Yeah, let me do that too.
Number of hours equal to half your druid level rounded down, yep.
Okay, so 1 hour roughly. Okay.
I rolled perfectly. I'm back to full health. I'm going to change my proficiency for a rest, and I'm going to change it to perception. And during this rest, all of a sudden, Lance starts having, oh my gosh, he starts having like a mini panic attack. Oh my gosh, we almost died so many times. What? I lied so many times. Oh my gosh. This is, oh my gosh. Malamara. Oh my gosh. Just like,
Mal will just support him and like comfort him.
Leosin comes over to you and goes, calm yourself, friend. We're safe for the time being.
I go through my bag looking for like some smelling salts, and the best thing I can find is my salami, so I start waving it under his nose.
Oh my gosh, wait, I'm not a good talker.
Great. So after a good hour of everybody taking a break, taking a breather, Leosin goes, all right, well, the moon is overhead. Let's press on, shall we? And stands up, and although not at a full sprint at this point, very strong, brisk walk, sometimes even jogging when in the open area here. And you are following the trails, but also he cuts off the path occasionally and cuts back on. It doesn't necessarily hinder your movement, but You are a little tired here. Everybody is a little tired, but 5 hours, 6 hours, 7 hours, 8 hours. The sun is rising on the horizon, and just as it rises over the horizon, as if it were a picture-perfect moment, you see Greenest in front of you. The morning sun shining down on the town as you're on a hill that comes down into the valley here. You all breathe a sigh of relief, seeing the keep, seeing the wall of the keep, seeing the surrounding farms, seeing the houses, and starting to see members of the town mill about. You walk into town. As Leosin and all of you walk into town, there are guards that are positioned at the actual roads here, and the one guard that is standing there sees you, rushes up to you, and gets to you and goes over to some of the villagers, just kind of whispers stuff to them and goes, "Excuse me, we will be back," and just rushes on into town over to the keep to deliver the news that the prisoners have returned. So, you get into the main town area where the market is, and there are, surprisingly, a few people who are setting up for market, it being a work day, if you will. And as you enter in, you pass by that big bulletin board, almost that job board that Escobar had posted, and you see the parchment of reward for helping save the prisoners from Greenest, and that reward, I believe it was 250 gold apiece. Was that right? Or yeah,
I will take that paper down.
Great. And some of the vendors are just walking towards you, and they come to the prisoners, and some of the prisoners run up to one of the women. She runs up to a vendor, and she just embraces the man who is setting up his vendor, his little setup there, and she just collapses in his arms and just starts sobbing, and he starts sobbing as well, and they fall to the ground kneeling, just holding each other, sobbing. It's just this time at Escobar and the mayor of Greenest, they just rush up. The mayor still basically in his nightgown, just with a robe draped around him to keep him. Escobar, not in full plate, but never without his weapons by his side, just rushes up with that same guard. And that guard saying, "I told you! Look! They've returned!" And the mayor just stops, and he slowly walks up towards you, and is stunned to silence. And the prisoners, as you glance around, most of them are in tears, and just silently sobbing to themselves. The mayor walks up to the three of you, and just looks each of you in the eye. "I'll be quite frank. I didn't think it was possible.
What?
I thought I had sent you
What?
on a..."
Excuse me?
He goes, "The cynical part of me had... forgive me, had written all of you off.
Excuse me?
But I held out to hope that all of you would return."
And I go over to the mayor, and I pat his knee with my claw and just say, "You should stop while you're behind."
Escobar comes up and goes, he means well. I think I'll speak for him moving forward. I think what the mayor is trying to say is that, he is incredibly grateful and relieved to see all of you returning in one piece.
Yes, I think what the mayor is trying to say is that we've exceeded his expectations, and we should be lauded as heroes. There should probably be a feast, I would imagine.
Of course. No, Mayor.
No, I'm pretty sure that's what he was saying. I'm pretty sure that's what he was trying to say.
I'm going to agree that was what he's saying, but I'm going to err on the side of his silence for the time being. And I absolutely agree. I think These 3 individuals will be hereafter known as the Heroes of Greenest, having brought home the prisoners of war, if you will. They've brought them home, safe and sound. And then some, and he points to 3 prisoners that seem to be awkwardly standing over, kind of like by themselves, and he goes, these 3 are to be lauded as heroes, and they will be rightly compensated. Where's that? There, and he walks over to the bulletin board. I had a paper I put up here.
It's right here. I'm still staring at the mayor.
He just rips it from your hand. 250 gold pieces to each of you. And a feast in your honor. A celebration for the week ahead.
Can we just take the money that you would spend on the feast?
You would get the money and the feast. And at this point, raise the call. Sound the bell. Celebration this week. Everybody. The mayor. Yes, and mayor, I'm telling you, shut your yapper. Why don't you 3 come follow me? And at this point, one of them says, Escobar, please, my daughter. Who's she with? Where's she staying?
This is Morin. He's the guy I've been asking about this whole time.
I'm familiar with Morin. Morin! We've got her in the keep. Please, come with me. And without hesitation, Morin just is following after the mayor, following after Escobar. And the 3 of you follow, I assume.
Yes?
Correct.
Guards, as you are passing by them, as you enter into the keep, are whispering to each other, oh my goodness, look at them. They've come back. They brought the heroes. And as soon as you enter the main keep area, the mayor whispers to Morin, she hasn't woken up yet, but I think she wouldn't mind getting woken up by you. She's upstairs in the guest chambers. Morin goes, Mayor, thank you for caring for her and making sure she was safe. And he looks over to you, Lance. You said you knew my daughter. Were you also keeping her safe as well?
Yes. I noticed after the raid that she was alone, and, so I helped her out how I could, and she asked me to find you. She wanted some hope, and I tried to give her some.
Today you've given her more than hope. You've reunited us. And he comes over to you and just grasps your shoulders.
Oh, okay.
And for that I will be eternally grateful. He looks down at your hands and goes, I apologize, I don't mean to pry, but
Yes, this is your ring I'm wearing. I found it in your house when we were looking for you, and I thought I might wear it to signify that I knew you, so you didn't just think I was some stranger. Or I knew, you know what I mean, that I knew your daughter. And so you didn't take me as just someone trying to lead you like a cultist somewhere.
That was my wife's wedding ring.
Okay, that's awkward. It actually felt like a boost to shield me from danger. So that's also maybe why I kept it too.
As you say, it's awkward, and he just chuckles to himself and goes, "No, I believe your intentions were pure. I mean, you're very wise to bring along that proof. I had it very well hidden, as you were aware.
I was searching your house to see if there's any sign of wherever you went, and I found the hiding spot. Yeah, I left the money. The money's there.
Proving yourself more a hero," he says as he's smiling. He smirks to himself and goes, I kept that just to give to Ardina when she got older, to remind herself of her mother.
Yes, of course.
Would you mind if I had it back?
Absolutely not. No, of course. Yes, wearing your wife's wedding ring from this point on would feel extremely awkward, and we're not even married, so that's just a double awkwardness. So I take off the ring.
Thank you. You've done so much for us. wish I could give back to you. I just feel that this would be...
It's awkward. I get it. Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
No, it's not awkward. I'm thinking of Ardina, and I just want her have something to remember her mother by.
Of course, yes. That's why it's awkward. Just take the ring back.
Okay. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Goodbye. And with that, he, with a smile on his face, a very caring smile and a very thankful smile, he turns away and he goes up the stairs to speak to Ardina. At this point, Escobar comes up with a treasure chest and he goes, "All right, you three." And he opens the treasure chest and 3 large bags of gold. 1, 2, 3. He goes, "You've certainly earned it."
250, right?
250 gold pieces a person. And he goes, I can't think of anybody else who'd be more deserving than this. You're certainly braver than a lot of folk in the town here, and certainly braver than myself. I wasn't willing to go after them, and I thought y'all were foolhardy, but...
We were told to.
Well, as he sort of like... kind of glare, kind of like rolls his eyes towards the mayor. Although you're being incentivized, you didn't have to take it. And you did. And that speaks volumes. Now, you 3, if we're getting ready for a feast, we ought to know what to call you by. What do we call the heroes of Greenest? And I mean, we could call you the heroes of Greenest.
Don't call us that, please. No.
It's kind of got a nice ring. It's
not good.
You could always call us the Hammers.
The Hammers?
I'm pretty partial to hammers.
Let's
Hammers, all right.
We gotta talk about this for a second.
All right, well, you got some time. The feast will be tonight in your honor. Yes, a whole week of feasting.
Well, I just figured that you just went through a raid.
Well, that was a few days ago. We bounced back pretty quickly in Greenest here. Plus, I think good old Bevan, he's got some cheeses and some... I believe he's got a few... I think he's saving it for a special occasion, so I believe this would be one to pull out all of the stops, if you get what I'm saying. Fleeple, you know exactly the stash that he's referring to, because you raided that before you headed... Yeah, half of it is eaten. The mayor pipes up and goes, I want to apologize for my rudeness earlier, and I want to offer you the quarters here. Once, obviously, Ardina has awoken and she has gone back to her father. You're more than welcome to stay here in the keep. We only have the one room, unfortunately, but we could bring a couple of cots, some bedding as well, to where you can share the room. Or, Fleeple, I don't know if you want to go back to Bevan's place, but or I could pay for your rooms at the Winged Dragon.
Is that Bevan's place, or?
Yeah, that's Bevan's place. Yeah, it's the tavern. We want to accommodate as much as possible for everything you did for us. Please, feel free to... The keep is yours. Not obviously yours, but feel free to walk around. Escobar, Mayor, I tell ya. And he goes, you are always welcome here, of course. I will be excusing myself before I shove the foot in my mouth yet again. So, excuse me. And with that, he leaves, and you all level up to level 4!
What I just realized is this whole time we've been level 3, I should have been rolling 2 d6s for sneak attack.
Oh.
I could have increased my damage more.
Oh, man.
So, yeah, I just realized I had not been utilizing sneak attack like I should have.
So the only thing I want to do here on the podcast is just roll health and see how many max hit points you got more. So if you want to roll health or if you're just taking the half. All right, so Mal, what are you taking?
Well, my understanding is that when you multi-class, you take the hit points of the new class.
That is correct.
Right?
So you're going to multi-class into what?
So I am going to multi-class as a barbarian. So I'm going to take that 1d12 plus my con.
Nice.
So 6 plus 4 is
Actually
10.
7. So 7 plus your con. So it's weird. When you take the safer option, they err on the side of it's half, but plus 1.
7 plus 4 is 11.
Nice. 11 more hit points. So now you're going to want to keep track of how many hit dice you have and what they are. So you have 3 d8s, 1 d12. Very nice. Okay, Fleeple, where are you going?
I usually like to roll, but since this is, Fleeple's a fan favorite, and we can't have me rolling low, so I'm just going to go with the safe option.
I mean, we do have fan art, so there you go.
And you, too,
Okay,
could
so-
create fan art of Fleeple. Just email it to icastfireball2020@gmail.com.
Feel free to tag us at icastfireball20. Okay, so that's you have a D8, right, Fleeple, for a druid?
Yep, so I'm just going with the 5 because my constitution is 0.
Ooh, yeah, probably good. All right, and Lance, what are you going?
Well,
what are you
since
doing?
I am the fan least favorite. No.
Since I'm creating a bard right now.
No. I rolled, and I am rolling a D8, and I rolled a 4, so straight down the middle.
Okay,
And then
nice.
plus 2 with my con, so that is 6. So my hit points are now at 33.
Great. Actually, the only other thing I want to know is at level 4, you have the possibility to take a feat or to increase ability scores. So, Lance, what are you going with at level 4?
I'm going with ability score.
Great. And do you know what you're going to...
Yes, dexterity,
Okay.
which is going up to 18 now.
Nice. You're boosting it by 2?
No, just by 1.
Oh, by 1? Okay.
And then I'm also
Nice.
going to boost intelligence by 1, which won't increase me, but the next time will.
Great. Fleeple, do you know if you're going feat or ability score?
I'm going with ability scores as well. I'm bumping my wisdom up to 18, so I also have a plus 4 now.
Nice.
And then for my other 1 ability score increase, I'm going to add that to intelligence as well. And that'll bump me up to a plus 1 from a 0.
Nice. Very wise in this party here. Mal, do you know which one you're going with?
Because I'm multi-class, I did not level up in Warlock, so I don't have a feat or an ability score increase.
Yeah, I believe Mickey's correct, but I would not argue with you, Thomas, if you wanted to give her an ability score improvement.
Yeah, if you want to give me that, that's cool, but
That's just so sad.
no, it's not.
That's just so sad.
I
think
got
it's
rage. I can done rage now.
So I just looked it up, and it says ability scores are tied to class, not character level.
So that means you have to be like a level 7 character before you do
Well,
anything.
the next time we level up, if she picks a warlock, then she gets to do the ability score.
Oof. Okay, that's fair.
That's
okay.
the
All right.
takeaways, I guess, from multi-classing.
Okay, that's good. Okay,
I
good to
still
know.
got stuff. I still get cool stuff.
That's fair. Okay, great. So we're gonna break out into a whole week of downtime here. Okay, so this week feast, not a week feast, a week-long feast. The town is just celebrating you. They are just we jump to that evening. Leosin kind of Leosin and some of the prisoners also taking house in the keep. Leosin has his room in the winged dragon that he had previous. But we go to that night. It's just a roaring party. It is just the biggest celebration that Greenus has had in a long time, because this is the biggest reason to celebrate other than defending themselves from a dragon, you know? And everything is just, everybody's clapping, running around, dancing, things like that. Children are up way past their bedtime. And while this is happening, Lance, you just feel this like tug on your cloak behind you. And you turn around and Ardina's there. And she's holding her dad's hand, Morin. And she comes up to you and goes, "Hey, I wanted to thank you for bringing my dad back. They said that you saved him."
No, I mean, it was like a conjoined effort.
And Morin pipes in, "That's true, remember? We talked about this. It was this gentleman, but also Fleeple, which you remember, and that half orc and that monk over there, that other individual over there. He doesn't know that he's a monk. That other over individual over there." And she goes, "Yeah, they told me that you helped save him," as she's like reciting what she's been told, but she's like, and she whispers, she goes, but I really know it was you. You're the one that saved him, so. And she, without saying anything, she lets go of her dad's hand. She just runs up to you and just hugs your legs. She only comes up to maybe, she's not even like half your height. And you being a small person, she's an even smaller child. And she, I'm just really glad that you brought my dad back.
I'll kneel down, kind of push her off a little bit, and I'll just kneel down to her height. Say, I'm glad too. It's always good to have parents around to watch out for you, but also remember, you kept yourself safe. Keep that. Remember that.
I'll remember. Thank you.
Of course. Go have fun, play with friends.
You want to come to our house? I can show you my room and like my toys.
I don't know.
I
mean, that's your dad had a long.
Yeah, Ardina. It's I believe he's gonna stay here at the party.
Before I leave, I'll drop by later this week.
Okay, I'll make sure that we have. And she's kind of like biting her lip now, like thinking about it. I'll make sure we have I'll like get a yeah. Okay. We'll have it like a tea party or something. And this conversation has quickly moved away from and Morin's like, thank you again.
Dude, Ardina really wants Lance to have that ring, so she's trying to parent trap her dad and Lance.
Oh my god.
That's right. She saw the ring. She knows.
Oh gosh. Okay. Also at the party that night, Fleeple and Mal, as you both are, while this conversation is happening, Leosin comes over and goes, I must apologize. I don't believe I caught your names, and you're the ones that helped me get out of there and saved these poor individuals from certain death. You know mine. I'm Leosin, obviously.
Well, I'm afraid to say that in real life, my name is not Jank, though it is a powerful name. But
it's quite powerful. I might recommend you change it to that.
Yes, well, everybody here calls me Fleeple because that's my name, so that's why they call me that.
They're very wise to do that then, if it's your name. And what about you? What was your name?
Most people just call me Mal.
Mal. Okay. Curious. I noticed your the tattoos on your arm. I believe they only come from. Am I right in assuming you will come from the spine of the world?
I do. That's. She'll look down at the tattoos in her arm. That's incredible. That's where I come from.
Oh, fascinating. Yes, I must admit I'm surprised not to see one of your companions flying around you, and but perhaps you don't have that ability yet. But just outstanding to bring you so far south here. I must say I've only read about tribes like yourself living up there. I find you see, I'm a bit of a scholar myself. I was wondering, I wasn't able to ask as we were rushing out. Did you happen to get any of that information that we had discussed previously from the camp?
Yes.
About the cult?
Yes, I snagged it all from my friend, Lance Thalen was very, very brave, and he was the one who went and actually gathered all of the information, and he was so kind as to just let me borrow it while we were on the way here.
Well, I was going to have a touching moment where I was going to give it to you, but I guess we cut that out. Ned said, skip the emotion. Let's go for the story.
2 hours previous. 2 hours before now.
I want you to have this.
Lance, I always knew you had goodness in your heart. You were just too stupid to see it.
Swipe back to the present.
In the journey back, I would have given Fleeple the messenger bag. Well, I would have looked through the messenger bag one more time because I did not really look through it. But after that, I didn't really even read the papers. I'm just giving them to Fleeple. As long as there wasn't something else in the messenger bag, then I'm just giving it to him.
Gotcha. Jacob, sorry to take that from you. I didn't mean to do that.
No, I didn't declare it at all. But yeah, I would have given it all to Fleeple. As long as there wasn't something else in the messenger bag, maybe that would have piqued my interest.
Fantastic. Perhaps when the festivities are over and I'm not quite, I will not be as hungover tomorrow, or maybe the next day. Perhaps we could investigate the findings from the cult together.
Yes, certainly. That sounds wonderful, and the most mysterious thing that we've found from the cult so far. And I pull out a slender little box and I show him the worm.
That was mine. I have that. I did not give that to you.
You gave me the messenger bag, man.
I didn't. The worm wasn't in it. The worm is in something else.
Fine.
I did not give you the worm. I was actually going to check on the worm, but you keep freaking taking what I'm going to do.
Okay.
My God. Look, I also found these boots of elven kind I took off of Lance while he was sleeping.
Okay, fine.
Everything's going out of my inventory.
I do not show him the worm, but as we decide that we're going to later on take a look at this stuff, I say, "Oh, and I've been meaning to introduce you to my good friend Coab over here."
No, he's dead. He got eaten by a dragon.
Surprisingly, after a day, there's nobody by the name of Coab. You don't recognize Coab. Not even amongst the dead.
He's the big bad at the end of this whole thing.
That's what it's going to be. You treat an NPC poorly, and then they come back and destroy you. Oh, boy.
Yeah, he's Tiamat.
He's the leader of the cult this whole time.
Excellent. Well, then I'll find you in a few days' time then, if that's all right. I'm gonna go. All right. So with downtime, is there anything that, and also, obviously Leosin wants to get in touch with Fleeple, to go over these notes in particular. Mal, was there anything particular you wanted to do during downtime? We don't have to roleplay it necessarily, just something that you wanted to, like, let's get this detail out of the way type of thing.
Where I'm at right now, probably not. I think I'll probably just stick with Lance or Fleeple, whoever seems to have a more interesting conversation happening. Probably Lance.
Great. Perfect. So sticking with Lance, so to speak, with that, Lance, is there anything in particular you would like to do this week during downtime?
I am going to, this whole week, I'm going to be very awkwardly close to Malamara. Like, as soon as she gets up in the morning, I'm like there being like, hey, how did you sleep? And whenever she's walking around, I'm not like on, like next to her, but I'm always like around her. I am always there for some reason.
So all week, Mal and Lance are just going to walk in a giant circle, trying to be near each other.
Exactly.
And neither one is leading. They're just like both next to each other.
They're like, oh, are you going to the?
Are you
going to the general store?
Oh, yeah. I'm going. Let's go.
Yeah, let's go. Let's. Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
And
cool.
Cool.
Yeah, they both go to the general store and be like, were you gonna get anything? Oh, I guess this flower maybe. Okay.
But yeah, just like very like awkward. Like Lance has been very distant this whole time, but yet somehow he's just always around Malamara. But I will. Oh, sorry. I real quick I will be checking in at least once on the blacksmith family. And also, I would like to see if there's somewhere around town where I can procure studded leather armor. And if I can, how much that would be to procure that.
Coincidentally, as you check on Ardina, Mal following Leosin as well, joining on this. After a few days, the house is a lot tidier. The windows are still unrepaired, but they got some boards on them. And Morin going, after only 2 days back in the blacksmith shop, finishing up a few items, finishing up maybe a few commissions even. But as you come up, he goes, oh, hello, Lance.
Hello.
Please, come on in. Ardina.
Yes, thank you. Oh,
Ardina.
Yay.
Lance is here. pitter-patter, like, down the stairs. Lance! And she just runs up and just gives you the biggest hug.
Hello.
Biggest hug.
Hello.
And she's just kind of standing there, like, next to her dad and goes, well, what can we do for you? And Malamara, of course, yes, good to see you. Or Mal, I should say, since I don't know your full name.
Yes, two things. One, I believe I owe this young lady a tea party.
Yes, and I am setting it up. I'll go set it up right now.
And I will say, Adina, I have brought a prime guest, my friend Malamara here, who has many a story to tell you about many an adventure, and she loves a tea party.
Your arm looks really cool. And she's like biting her lip again as she's like kind of like just swaying back and forth, kind of like little kids do. And like, can I touch it?
Mel will pull up her sleeve and let Ardina examine it to her heart's content.
She like goes up and she like follows some lines. She starts to like, with her not touching your arm, like kind of like tracing it, like, okay, and then, why are you green?
Oh,
and Morin goes, Ardina, you should Ardina, tea party? Set it up? Oh, I'll be back. And then she just kind of skips off, and Morin goes,
Oh my gosh, you can't just ask somebody why they're green.
I am sorry, and I apologize greatly for that. She's a very curious child, and we don't get a lot of visitors, so what did you want, Lance?
just stop while you're behind. Also, you are a blacksmith, and I was wondering if by any chance procure, if you have any kind of armor that's leather but a little bit more durable than just regular, like with like studded leather armor or some kind of upgrade in that regard.
I don't have anything like that right now, but that's something I can definitely get done in a few days.
Oh,
time.
Yes.
No worries.
How much?
Well, let's say
I saved your life. What?
Sorry, what?
What? What's that?
Why don't we say like 45 gold pieces?
I saved your life? No. No, I'm just joking.
He's like, weird flex.
Just
okay.
everything, every. I saved your life? No. Okay. 45. Yes, that sounds perfect. That's actually, I won more of that in a drinking match a little while ago, so that's perfect.
Oh, great. You must have been quite a drinker.
Oh.
I'm not calling you drunk or an alcoholic.
No, I actually wasn't drunk at all after it. Some people were, but
How about I just start working and stop talking?
That's
right
a good
now?
idea.
Great. So after setting up the tea party, Ardina asking about all of your tattoos, and Mal, she asking some uncomfortable questions, but questions that you maybe don't fully answer or just flat out ignore, like you can with some children sometimes. You have a wonderful tea party, sharing some stories, and that is your day. If we're okay with that. After a few days' time, sure enough, you get studded leather armor.
Woo! I am now at a higher armor class than I was with that ring.
Now, during this time, Fleeple and Leosin, you are pouring through these letters. There are quite a few. Some of them are veiled. There seems to be some sort of... Some of them are in ciphers, and some of them are not in ciphers. The ones that are not in ciphers actually seem to be like... It's very confusing. After like one page you read it, like 2 pages you read it, and like 3, like... It takes you like 3 pages before you realize, good heavens, this is some poetry about dragons that is just absolutely terrible. Things like, your wings expand across the sky, it fills my eye, behold it in the world right now, and like that's it.
It's that's the problem. People think that poetry is just all about rhyming, but you got to have meter as well.
Yes, I've never really been one to take up the gift of poetry myself. I leave that for the bards, and but good heavens, she is just terrible. She is just awful here.
I mean, in more ways than one.
Fleeple, why don't you go ahead and roll a investigation check.
Investigation. Definitely going to be giving myself guidance on that, and thank goodness I just increased my intelligence.
Let's have Leosin give you advantage as well, because you both are pouring it over together. This is for the cipher specifically.
Booyah,
to
my
like
man.
feel like to see if you could break it, crack it. You've got like this blackboard almost where Leosin's like, let's go through it again. Let's really try to nail this down. So go ahead and roll your investigation check with advantage.
All right, 19.
19. After a good day and a half, you realized that this poetry was also part of the cipher. And so you're like, oh... He's like, oh, my, that is very clever. But golly, it is still just the worst thing I've ever heard in my life. I mean, couldn't you have picked a different book for a cipher? Regardless. So, you pour through these ciphered letters and you jot them down. One of them is to an individual named Resmir. The gist of this letter speaks about the most recent raids, Greenest, and how they were going to stop doing raids for a while, thinking that they might arouse suspicion. How also a little bit of a criticism about how Resmir hasn't been there in quite some time, and how you could get there might be this overt, maybe overt or covert. It can't be both. It has to be one of them. Maybe some underlying annoyance about being left with the dragon eggs in the hatchery. And something to the effect of, you've left me with this burden, and yet you expect me to bring results. How am I to know how to raise one of your kind? That's one letter. A couple of there are just kind of basic notes. But then one of them is sort of like a checklist. And the biggest checklist, the biggest ticketed item is basically what she's... Honestly, it's kind of like a journal entry. Like if we were to boil it down to what it actually is, it's a journal entry of like her talking about like, okay, what are we going to do now that we've got all of this? I know we need to securely send the treasure somewhere. I needed to make sure it gets to its final destination, but how do we do it? How do we do it? Where can we send it to throw off suspicion? But unfortunately, that's not answered in these letters here. Doesn't seem like it was answered in the items that Lance had procured from the tent. And you get some other snippets of like just a casual mention of like a for some reason in that conversation to Resmir, there's also conversations about being a worm speaker, and how that Mondath does recognize the power of the mask, and before moving on to a different topic, things like that. Both you and Lance rolled pretty high, thankfully, so that was you were able to get a good chunk of information from that. Leosin goes, This is very good indeed, Fleeple. This information was what I was hoping to find. I can't confirm anything. Everything is speculation. I'll be honest, I'm kind of the only monk investigating this currently, and if I'm really going to help convince and draw some other of my organization in to start further investigating things, this mask line is very encouraging for what I think, so I'm not going to speak in any absolutes, but this is excellent work. But we need to discover exactly a next... What's the next step? What is the next step as a organization as a whole? What is something that we can thwart, something we can intercept, something we can tangibly hold other than these papers that we got here?
Well, there were those eggs in the hatchery.
Yes. How did they get there? Where did they come from? Yes. Fleeple, this is good. This is good. if we had some sort of tangible proof, something that we could take to others, we could write about, we could have in our possession. Not to keep the eggs ourselves, of course, because I don't wish to have any dragon eggs myself, but even understanding where this treasure is going to be heading, where it's going to be going. It sounds like they are unclear of how to transfer it. If we could figure out where that's going, what their next objective is, I think perhaps we can get closer to get away from the bottom of the food chain, so to speak. Maybe get to this Resmere individual and somehow intercept them. Them being a worm speaker. I mean, that sounds pretty official, right? I mean,
if it's got speaker in the title, then it's probably going to be pretty far up there.
I mean, one can hope, right? I'm wondering what some of your thoughts are on this. I mean, you bring up an excellent idea, but what are some of your thoughts?
Well, I don't know how much of the encampment is going to be left after our orc friends got finished with it, but
they were quite thorough. Quite thorough indeed.
Because Kava also had a desk that might have had some information in it. And it might be worth rooting around the cavern that the eggs were in and see if there's any clues we could find there.
Yes. As you say this, he's kind of like looking off to the side, like tapping the table slowly. Definitely in thought. Fleeple, I couldn't help but notice, and overhear some of the prayers that you mutter, as you have we have some meals, and it seems that we share an affinity to Bahamut. Am I correct in assuming?
Oh, well, Bahamut, he's the tops. He's the best. He's the bee's knees. He's the cat's pajamas.
All of that and more. It seems I am a monk, yes, and I am a scholar, but at a very young age in my life, I found that I really came to understand Bahamut's majesty, just through worship, through my parents, through just talking to various dragonborn themselves, and I really feel quite drawn and quite propelled to help carry out his will. I sense that same drive in you, and so I feel as if I'm talking to somebody, which, I'll be honest, I never thought I'd be communicating with a kobold on matters of Bahamut.
No, I'm with you right there. Most kobolds are pretty unpleasant folk.
But I feel as if I'm speaking to a fellow brother in arms here, and there's something in my heart that tells me that this is something bigger than just a cult vying for power. You mentioned that going to the caverns might be a good idea. Would you be willing to go to the caverns with your adventuring party, your comrades, and to see what information you can pull and what information you could bring back? Honestly, I was supposed to leave to my monastery a week ago, but I was captured. It makes it difficult. And I shouldn't have stayed to investigate these papers. And I have to report back. But would you be willing to go with your two comrades and follow up where I cannot, and then send me word?
Well,
When I'm trying to think of a witty thing to say.
Okay, fan favorite, calm down.
Well, it may be that this will be the last nail in the cult's coffin, and the hammers are on the job.
I have to say, I quite like that name. It's a very catchy name. Hammers, three of you. I mean, I don't see the correlation between the three of you and hammers, but by golly, it definitely drives you to think that you're going to get the job done. And for that, I thank you, Fleeple. I will arrange for you some some form of communication, perhaps even a magical device I can send back to you to where we can communicate more directly instead of just through transcripts or face-to-face. So, I think this is where we part ways.
And I...
But not for long.
Yeah, I reach into my pack and I pull out some salami and I hand it to him in a departing gesture and just say the very first thing that I said to him, Bahamut Troth, Bahamut's blessing upon you.
As he grabs the salami from you with a very quizzical look, he just sort of gingerly picks it up, holds it in one hand, sees that it's got like a bunch of bite marks in it, but as you bow to him with that phrase, he repeats it, bowing to you. And that's where we'll end this week's episode of I Cast Fireball.
I found us a quest hook.
There you go.
So, nice recuperation.
Nice leveling up.
Awkward questions from a youth. Leveling up. Great stuff. But yeah, we got some great stuff coming down the pipeline. So we will see.
I will say,
what happens.
That time, I did look at the worm to see if it's alive.
As you open the box, slowly, it's there, but it is not moving.
It's dead. We didn't feed it. Leaves.
Seems to have departed. Still has those weird paper mache heads on either side, though.
I will say I would have made it a point before Leosin leaves to show that to him as well.
Okay, sounds good. We'll get that. We'll do that next time. We'll do that next time.
Magically take everything out of my my
and
supply.
Here's 250 gold pieces that he gave to me as
What
well.
about this glass eye? What about this unusual parchment of magic?
Well, we will find out next time on I Cast Fireball. Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode. We hope you enjoyed listening as much as we've enjoyed playing. From wherever you are and wherever you get your podcast from, please leave us a review. It really helps boost us up and lets us know that you appreciate what we're doing here. You can also shoot us an email over at icastfireball2020@gmail.com. Again, that's icastfireball, all lowercase, 2020@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you, and you're hoping to get the word out there and set this podcast on fire. To get the most recent update of content, please follow us on Instagram and Twitter with the handle icastfireball20. That's the number 20 at the end there. There you can get possible sneak peeks of upcoming episodes, interesting insights from players and DMs, random surveys, and behind-the-scenes shots of us making this incredibly fun world. Now, we just want to give a quick shout-out to our sister podcast, Improv Tabletop, where our resident kobold, Ned, takes a turn as a GM and runs through mini one-month adventures using the Fate Accelerated tabletop system. Now, whether you like tabletop games, improvisation, or hearing more from Ned, we recommend you go give them a listen. Like, subscribe, share with friends and fellow wacky adventurers, but until next time, I'm Thomas, your DM, and around the table, we've got...
Malamara.
Lance Thalen.
And Fleeple.
Keep the fire going, and see you next time.